Okay, next question comes from Owlflame. Sorry, that pause is for anyone who wants to tear up their betting slips. His is only one question, and it's a very simple one.
Have you watched Kill la Kill?
Short answer, no. Long answer, no.
We need to reference other people besides Yahtzee.
That was the first thing that came to mind. It was the best no quote I could think of.
Yeah, Kill la Kill, I've heard a lot of things about it, some positive praise, some not, and I tried to watch one of the fight scenes, and okay, I can kind of be happy about the fact that it is basically a confident female protagonist in a Shonen style situation, but it's partially the fan service, which is just, oh my god.
Yeah, that is what I know about Kill la Kill. And let me just say, going on my experiences with Fairy Tail, with Bleach, with One Piece, I am immediately turned off, oddly enough.
Yeah, although the thing that kind of turned me off was I watched one of the fight scenes so I could gauge, like, the impact of the show. And the fight scene I watched, okay, the premise of Kill la Kill is people fighting with these strange armored outfits which are basically created by spirits possessing their bodies, and they are incredibly stripperific, both male and female.
Well, at least the sequel.
Yeah, and in this case, the fight, the main turning point, is basically her saying, okay, I've just realised I should accept the fact that you're stripperific and shouldn't be embarrassed about the fact that half of my naked body is visible to everyone within a 20-mile radius.
That's bad even by Shonen standards. And trust me, Shonen standards are in the basement.
Yeah. On top of that, the animation just seemed a bit too crazed and over the top for me, and then halfway through the fight, there's an appearance by a comic relief character who, let's just say, I wanted a punch in the face, and I was very thankful for when the main villain did that. So,
good old Big Man.
I mean, there may be some positives to it that I'm overlooking, and I will admit I haven't watched a full episode, namely because it's not available on Crunchyroll over here, but...
Yeah. I mean, I've heard good things about it, but just going on the superficial, just going on what I see on the outside, I don't think I'm going to. Oh god, trust me. We already get plenty of fan service watching the anime and manga that we do. Like Fairy Tail.
Oh god.
I read the most recent chapters. I wish I hadn't. I really wish I hadn't.
I told you they had descended into DeviantArt fanfics, but no, you would.
I already warned you I had morbid curiosity. I wish I never did.
Well, I guess I can't talk. I read the latest chapter between Engie and Mandim Masculine. Oh my god, I can't believe that's a thing.
Yeah, like, even the fans of Bleach that I know, they have stopped caring. They've given up. Everyone is leaving for good reason. But Bleach has fallen out of the top 3 for a very, very good reason.
I mean, for goodness sake, Kubo, you cannot get away with the, oh, well, if you just say its name slightly differently, you get a power-up excuse. I'm so...
Yeah, like, he's using literally every excuse there is to give out power-ups. I remember whenever honest-to-God training used to be a thing in this series. Now it's just Ichigo and Deus Ex Machinas.
It's gonna reach a point where it goes, but, well, you see, you haven't been using your full power. You see that little accent on its name? What accent? Yeah, you see that one. You should have been pronouncing it Zangetto.
God. It's gonna do that. I just know it.
But yeah, getting back to the question, neither of us have watched Kill la Kill. Maybe we will in the future, but it's kind of off-putting what we have seen.
Yeah, because we've already had bad experiences with fan service.
Okay, next batch of questions. Your pick, Sven.
Okay. Lucky number, going once, going twice. Our next question comes from GameCat16.
Huh, that's what I'm staring at right now.
Wow, someone actually won a bet tonight.
Totally not rigged. Anyway.
Yeah, it's not like you run the channel or anything. Anyway, next question comes from GameCat16. Well, next 3 questions.
Number 1. Seeing as 2013 just passed, what would you say was the best video game story of the year?
At the time of recording, I have just released a video looking back on the new year, although admittedly, I never actually said which was the best, I just said which I liked. There were many good ones, like I brought up in the video, but I'd say out of the ones I actually played, because I know a lot of people have been recommending Tomb Raider, The Last of Us, and Beyond Two Souls for some reason, but I would say probably Fire Emblem Awakening, in full honesty, mainly because my schedule is really, really tight this year, and it's probably going to be for the next couple of years, so it really takes a lot for me to replay a game after I've gone through the story. And Fire Emblem Awakening, I've played through twice, currently going on a 3rd time. Sven, how about you?
For me, it's a tie between that and, oddly enough, Papers, Please. I'm not sure if you've heard of that game. Basically, I'll just break it down for you. It is an 8-bit immigrant paper stamping simulator with an astonishingly good story for what it is. You are an immigration worker working for a fascist government, and you have to decide between your conscience or supporting your family and not getting them killed by the government, basically. And it eventually comes to a point where you can or can't support a rebellion against the government. And surprisingly, the story is really engaging for being brick simple, but astonishingly, for the 2 days I played the game, because it was really, really, really short and I have no life, it really actually engaged me.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have heard a lot of praise for it, and the only reason I haven't picked it up yet is because, well, Steam's been kind of mixed with me. Like, even when I have managed to get good games, it's kind of hard to describe, but I find it very difficult to sit in front of a computer and just game in the same way I can sit in front of a console. I don't know whether it's some kind of weird psychological block, but I've currently got 2 Steam games that I do enjoy and just need to fight the psychological block and finish.
Well, in that case, I'd honestly recommend the game for you because you aren't going to be there very long, but you are going to enjoy what is there.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting recommendation. Yeah, I definitely would like to play that.
Yeah, like, I only took 2 days to beat the game. It is very, 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 very simple, but you get a lot out of what's there.
Okay, that's a good recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, oddly enough, 8-bit paper stamping simulator, I highly recommend as one of the best stories I've encountered in 2013.
Well, hey.
Second question from GameCat.
What game story would you say was the worst?
This ought to be good.
Well, I think I managed to avoid most of the worst this year.
Likewise, I have not played that many new games in 2013.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think at the top of my head. Part of me wants to say Beyond Two Souls, but that's not really fair since I haven't actually played it. I've just watched the cutscenes. In terms of games I have played, 2 worst this year. Well, okay. First off, one that's technically not released this year, but what I did play, Jax and Dexter. And the reason I say that is because I could not stand Daxter at all. Like, or was it Dexter? I forget. I don't care. I could not stand the bugger.
Yeah, I actually played the first game. Oddly enough, I was so turned off by the controls, I never played another Jak and Daxter game ever again.
Yeah, I think it was partially the controls, and partially I just couldn't stand that obnoxious little furry thing. I just...
Yeah, honestly, from what I know of the game, I can't exactly blame you.
But, the games released this year, the only games I can think of weren't really bad, just sort of vaguely disappointing. Like, Pokemon X and Y, like I said, the world was really well designed, and the experiences you can have of it, and the Pokemon you can interact with it, that's all really great and creates sort of a wonderful experience. But the actual plot they tried to add, that was just so lame. And it has one person I can officially denounce as the worst rival in the entire series.
I don't even know who the rival was in that game.
Well, it's supposed to be this girl named Serena, whose parents are traders, and her big thing is that she wants to try and be a professional trader along with everyone else. And the main problem is, her personality is kind of uninteresting, and the gameplay really doesn't help. Like, okay, let me put it this way. Throughout most of the game, she only has 4 Pokemon, and it doesn't occur to her to get 6 until the very final battle. At which point, she will usually have an Eevee that has been given an Element Stone, but only has 3 moves.
What? Oh my god, and I thought Ash was a bad trainer. At least he uses full teams.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And it's kind of stuff like that. Like, admittedly, there are some good elements in it towards the end of both the Team Flare plot and after the Pokemon League, but otherwise it was just kind of disappointing. And the only other example I can think of on the top of my head, which is incredibly weird considering that I also mentioned it in a previous question, there were some great moments in the story of this game, but there were also some really terrible ones that felt like a punch to the gut, and that came from Sonic Lost World.
Funny we should come back to that.
Yeah, there were some really great moments, but there was also some equally irritating and dumb moments, particularly since, well, let's just say any scene with the Deadly Six, save for Zavok. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that review. Anyway,
as am I now that you mention it.
Okay. But yeah, those are the only 2 examples I can think of. Sven, do you have any, or have you been a lucky bastard?
I've mostly been lucky, but I've seen enough of Call of Duty Ghosts to say this. Call of Duty has officially reached a singularity of American jingoism. I mean, really, a coalition of South American countries banding together to take down America. Are you kidding me? Have you run out of brown people to kill? Or are you just going for self-parody at this point, you jingoistic
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm not one to hop on the bandwagon of hatred for my own country. It would be kind of disingenuous and really, really stupid on my part. I'm not Yahtzee, okay? But at the same time, this is ridiculous. Have you run out of Russians and Muslims to kill Call of Duty?
I was gonna say, I mean, at least with Russia you had the Cold War in some kind of context, but...
Yeah, and admittedly, I am not on the War in the Middle East bandwagon to say the absolute least, but at least that has some modern grounding. But South America? What the hell? What sense does that make?
If the entire South America bands together, what do we have to fear of America? Oh, that's right, they have nuclear weapons and we don't. Never mind.
Yeah, like, I never played Call of Duty Ghosts, and I never, ever will. Because I'll be the first to say that the story up until this point was crap to begin with, but this is a singularity of bull.
Oh, okay.
That was my political rant out of the way. Let's move on. Final question from GameCat16. Oh, I have a good answer for this question.
An armada of giant killer robotic pirate monkey mice.
What? Invades Earth. What do you do?
Okay. What would your answer be, Sven?
Since I'm on the topic of American jingoism, I'd hide out in Republican America because they have no weapons laws.
Okay, first thing I'd do is grab my weaponry, then I would band together with a group of survivors, and if Walking Dead taught me anything, we will spend several weeks engaging in paranoia, deep character-changing discussions, and developing strong, powerful bonds that will eventually be ripped asunder when, in a jump scare, one of the robotic pirate monkeys leap out and kill us.
Yeah, that sounds like The Walking Dead, alright. Yeah, I think that's a sufficient answer for this question.
Yeah. Okay. Our next 3 questions come from the Infernity Zero. The first one being,
what is one game that you've done for your VGT reviews that you wouldn't have played otherwise and really enjoyed?
This one is all on Jonin because I only ever appear in VGT to provide silly voices.
2 recent episodes, actually, I can bring off to the top of my head. The first one is Ogre Battle 64, which, even putting aside that game was really hard to get in Europe, I wouldn't have heard about it until Sven basically pestered me in private saying, hey, there's this game called Ogre Battle 64. It's got some really good stuff you might like to review in a review.
Yep. I take that back. I was involved in VGT in some way in that I was basically the single-handed catalyst of the Ogre Battle review because I would not stop bringing it up.
Oh, yes. By the way, Sven, yes, I've got your request for Final Fantasy IX at Legend of Legaia, okay?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I dropped enough hints.
Oh, geez. The other one I can bring up is Evil Under the Sun, because the only reason I even considered that game was because A, I had a game rental service, and B, I thought, well, it's an Agatha Christie game, so even if it's bad, I can at least use that angle from it, because, as I mentioned in the review, I was a fan of those stories beforehand, and I really enjoyed it, partially because it was one of the stories I hadn't seen or read before, so it was kind of fun going through that, and also kind of fun because it was a very simple point-and-click adventure game, and it had its own little bits of silliness that made it good and laugh, I must admit.
Like the submarine shooting down the lighthouse.
And that apathetic death rattle. Hell.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure if that was the best or worst death rattle ever, considering what the character was supposed to be, but never mind.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, personally, I'd be thinking something more along the lines of, oh, that's a German submarine. Duck, duck, duck!
So yeah, that was also something I really enjoyed doing and I wouldn't have done otherwise. So yeah, I'm really grateful for VGT for allowing me to expand my range, because I'm renting a lot of games that I wouldn't have acknowledged otherwise just to get more material. That's my answer to that, so we'll move on to a second question, which is...
have you heard or played the game Rain for the PlayStation 3?
Nope.
Unless you're talking about Heavy Rain, no. To Google! Yes, I am literally Googling it. Shut up. Let's see. Here we go. Rain is the story of an invisible world revealed by falling rain. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to check that out at some point, I think.
Yeah, let me know how that goes, because I'm a bit busy to check it out myself, but that's fascinating.
Definitely a unique concept, not gonna lie.
We can at least say that. That's at least our answer for now.
And the third and final question, which Sven may have a little bit more to say about than me.
What is your opinion on the phenomenon known as bronies and Pegasisters?
Oh, this comes at a beautiful time. Because, fun fact, I've been learning a whole lot more about the adult My Little Pony fan base thanks to Tumblr lately, and it's not flattering. Namely, I'm just gonna sum up by saying this. Thanks to Reddit, not only has My Little Pony been ruined for me, but so has the fedora, because for some reason, the sexist douchebag bronies on Reddit love the fedora to no end, and it's basically become the laughingstock of the socially decent online community. I no longer identify with the brony community at all. I'm just some dude who happens to be a male fan of the show. I say this purely because I want nothing to do with douchebags like that, who take a kids show and basically press gang the writers into marketing it towards them. That is not what this was about, okay? This was about us just happening to enjoy the show. Just... no.
Wow. I can understand where you're coming from with that, because, yeah, trying to claim that it's a show for adult audiences when it's really a kids show, that is just cruel.
Yeah. I like the show. I love the show, in fact. It's one of the few kid shows nowadays that is remotely worth a crap. But it wasn't about us, for God's sake. We liked it because that was what it was, like children's media that actually cared. Like a new Disney, almost, in fact, but this was not what it was about. I don't know what has happened to this fandom, but it was not what I got into whenever I started this.
Yeah, I'm going from it purely from an outside view because my only experience with the show has been the Turnabout Storm crossover and SF Debris reviews on it, but here's my take on it. I don't have any problems with people liking the show, but I find it very interesting, two sides of it. I find it very interesting that the fan base is so incredibly defensive about the show, like especially the whole Brody's Pegasus thing. But I'm also incredibly surprised at just how aggressive some people are towards the fan base. I mean, I'm not talking about Sven's case here, where it's basically more where it's a kind of a general grievance of, okay guys, you're acting over the top, it's a kid's show, it's not aimed at you, stop being control freaks. I kinda get that, but it's more, people get really angry at the fact that they like My Little Pony and will find any justification, like, this is true. SF Debris, he mostly posts his content on Blip because of copyright, but on his YouTube channel, he still posts, like, little trailers of what's up, and that usually serves as the comment section for each and every video. And he did, I really wish I could remember the name of the two-parter, but the one with Discord in it, where he first appeared.
I do not remember the name of that episode.
Yeah, but he did that two-parter. The second part had the comments disabled, and the reason was because the first part had such disgusting bile thrown at it. Like, there were some people getting defensive and trying to praise that the show was the greatest thing ever and that stuff, but there were also people who were insisting that Brodies were so disgusting, and there was one person who, I swear to God, was constantly saying that SF Debris should not support the Brodies because, like, there's adult fanfiction about it. Like, he was saying that the fanbase apparently supports... Oh, he went on a long list about pedophilia, bestiality, underage sex, and all this, like, massive list of reasons, and I just stared at this comment thinking, have you been on the internet? The reason I use DeviantArt fanfictions as a punchline is that I cannot count the number of times I've looked up something like Street Fighter or Fire Emblem or Naruto on DeviantArt and found loads of fetish pictures and fanfics on it.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's a very, very, very disturbing undertone to the fact that this has adult written about it, but it's still the internet. Are you new here? This is what the internet does. And just because a few, unfortunate individuals may write that, we're not all like that. I give the fandom for this show absolute crap for the it does do, but not everyone writes porn. But, yeah, at any rate, I see exactly what you mean. On the one hand, you have the really, really bad fan base, but on the other, you have people just tearing into the show for whatever reasons they can find. And I've noticed a really disturbing trend where most of them seem to be homophobes and sexists.
Yeah, I mean, I made a comment about this in my blog. I have no problem with people liking My Little Pony, and I said it once in the blog, but I'm going to say it again. I find it really hypocritical that people will bang on and on about how it's so creepy that they like a little kid's show, and they're taking it so seriously, but then talk about Transformers, because it's exactly the same crap. You cannot pretend it isn't. It's a show that cares slightly more about its story instead of selling you toys. That's it. It's exactly the same premise.
Yep, exactly the same except marketed towards boys. That is actually it. Honestly, the fact that they will sing Transformers praises but bash on anyone who likes My Little Pony kind of brings up some really unfortunate implications.
Yeah. So, to answer your question, we get that they have to put up a lot, but at the same time, they have a lot of crap they need to answer for, and the fact that Sven's basically renouncing the term Brody and calling himself a male My Little Pony fan shows something.
Yeah, like, I know I've personally advised you not to browse Tumblr very much, but if you browse Tumblr, you will find exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, jeez.
I've had it show up on my dashboard all the damn time, and I am sick of this It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the only thing I ever use Tumblr for is my blog, which you can find...
Maybe if we say it enough, people will actually subscribe.
Plug it is so 2013. Let's...